that an average American CEO of a Fortune 100 company is a 6 feet tall white man. And when you realize that becoming a successful CEO is actually nothing to do with being tall, white, or man, you do realize that there is a bias.
Now I'd like to invite onto the stage the CEO of Marsh, McLennan Global Services India. Could we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Dinesh Deo?
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me here. Great to be associated with India Diversity Forum. The concept of the CEO pledge is pretty unique. I am doing it for the first time as well. And when I was reading the pledge, which we are going to take, there is one element in there that talks about the commitment of the CEO towards educating the organization and increasing the awareness. And so when I was thinking about what can I talk to you today about, is I thought I can relate my own personal journey in diversity and inclusion specific to education and awareness. So, the first time I ever got introduced to diversity and inclusion when I was at BNY Mellon. I was the CEO of BNY Mellon before coming to Marsh McLennan. And I was one day appointed on the Global Diversity and Inclusion Forum headed by the chairman of the organization. And I was wondering, why am I appointed? And the CEO then, she told me that you live, I think, and you understand this and you are passionate. That's the first time actually I went and formally read about what is diversity and inclusion. And I thought, oh wow, if my boss thinks that I'm doing it, it is pretty good. Then I was suggested you should undergo some training. And I thought, why do I need any training if I am already good? And I do think my behavior always has been inclusive, and I used to take a pride, I do it still, in the way I do compensation management. When I used to do, say, a merit increase for 1,000 people, I would, in the initial stage, hide the name column and the gender column, and I only would look at performance measurements, parameters, comments, grade positioning, and what we need to do that for person, right? And then, of course, look at the names later on. And if that is how I behave, why do I need education? But one day I happened to do unconscious bias training, and I am sure that all of you know about it. If you don't, then I highly encourage that you should undergo that training. Because when I did and I realized, and this was 15 years back, more than that, men, it is a startling, when you look at those facts and when you analyze what's really happening, and when you realize that becoming a successful CEO is actually nothing to do with being tall, white, or man, you do realize that there is a bias that is behind it. And bias influences decisions of leaders that go against not only just diversity and inclusion, but many other aspects. When I learned that when you are interviewing candidates, you carry a bias, and you do tend to get influenced by the person's personality, English skills, the way that person is talking can influence actually your decision to hire or not hire because you are carrying a bias. And when I looked at that point, I did think that I do get influenced. And it was actually unsettling for me to realize that, and if I'm doing it, I'm sure others are doing it around me, and that's not good. I realized that I have, we all have, from childhood, those who drive a Royal Enfield Bullet, I think there's some great. The unconscious bias training tells you that people do carry bias even like that can influence how you behave at workplace. And this is true, right? I'm giving my own examples. Then at workplace, to increase awareness of these things can be the best commitment that I think a CEO can give, which is part of this pledge. And I'm very happy to be joining this today. I can go on and talk about more things, but in the interest of time, I'll stop. And thank you very much, and joining the pledge now. Thank you.